Welcome everyone to this this session. I'm really happy because today we have a combination. I think it's really interesting. We have two great speakers with us. As you know, this is the 10th edition of the OpenNebula conference, and we wanted to have a special occasion, a special event, and this session is one of those that I'm really proud of. Obviously, apart from all the others, but I'm really happy that we've managed to put together this session on the power of combining open source and cloud computing. And for that, I'm feel very happy to be joined today by two great speakers. We have Alison de Benwick. She's the VP of Oracle for Research. Thank you for being here, Alison. And
Thank you. It's delightful.
Great. And we also have Eric Enquist. He's the Director of Center for Research Computing at Rice University. So thank you for being here, Eric. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you both here. And just for everyone who might not be aware, this is also an occasion for us to celebrate what I think it's a beautiful exercise of collaboration around open source. A couple of years ago, we had this project in collaboration with Oracle and Rice University to create an open source cloud bursting driver for OpenNebula to be able to consume resources from Oracle cloud infrastructure. So we won't be getting into too many technical details in this session, but what we wanted to have is this joint, this combined perspective from both of you, Alison and Eric, about what open source means for your organizations and how you see the present and the future of cloud computing, both from a research institution, a higher education institution, and also from an iconic vendor like Oracle. So, Alison, I think let's start with your presentation. I give you the floor, all yours.
Fantastic, thank you. If you want to, there we go. As Alberto said, my name is Alison de Benwick Miller, and I am so excited to be here and to be sharing the stage with both Eric and Alberto. This is such an exciting event for OpenNebula, and they've been a great partner for Oracle. So I'm thrilled to get to talk to you today. Next slide, please. For some people, and hopefully not for any of you who are listening today, Oracle and open source may not actually seem to belong in the same sentence. Often, depending on how people encounter us, we are more often known as a database company or a business applications provider, and increasingly, happily, as a fourth cloud provider. But Oracle and open source sometimes get people off guard. However, since our very early days, Oracle was founded in 1977, we have been committed to open standards. And starting in 1998, we have been actively investing in and committed to open source. And we've stewarded important projects like Java and MySQL. Our dedication to open source technologies continues today. It is ongoing, and we support and promote popular technologies for research and for critical business environments. We are actually a founding platinum sponsor or a founding member for a number of open source governing bodies. I'm sure you're familiar with some of them. The Linux Foundation is one. Cloud Native Computing Foundation is one, the Eclipse Foundation is one, and we're also part of the Java community process. And through these relationships, we actually invest a significant amount of resources in enhancement, in testing and optimization, and providing support for many projects that are open source and used by millions of people each day. This is really a central part of Oracle's DNA, and it's central to our goal of empowering developers and researchers both through Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which we call OCI, maybe the way you know it too, and our 42 cloud public regions. We are providing more opportunities than we ever have before to make open source technologies widely available to everyone. Next slide, please. At Oracle for Research, we believe that scientific knowledge is actually a public good. And as members of the wider scientific community, we believe that we actually have a duty to advance discovery and to support open science initiatives and support research. Arguably, the research industry is really leading trends across many industries to extend the use of open source technologies. And this really is, although we are a for-profit company, this really is something that we support. Open source and open science really promote and prompt innovation and expand knowledge more efficiently because there's more shared knowledge in the ecosystem. And these are values that are very important to Oracle. Now, as part of the open source community, I'm sure you all are very well aware of some of the challenges that open source technologies and open data are facing as they move from sort of developer-oriented projects and into business critical applications and translational research areas where the stakes are higher. The more obvious challenges include things like open source security. We're seeing a lot of concerns about that, uptime and availability, and finding skilled open source talent. Perhaps the less obvious risk, but something that I think is important, and this was first proposed by James Handler, is that open data and open source suffer a tragedy of the commons. And what that means is many users would want to benefit from open data and open source, but few want to contribute or invest to them. And this ultimately depletes the resource and depletes the value of the resource. And I think this is something as open source and open data become more and more central that we need to watch carefully in the coming years to really protect and preserve the value of these as resources. So not all doom and gloom, though. Obviously, there are a lot of good things going on. Open source is increasingly cloud native, and we're really excited to see that open source communities are showing a good deal of interest in ethical and explainable AI as AI and ML move into the open source landscape. This, as well as we're seeing much more use of popular tools like Blender and Terraform, and we're also seeing an increasing development in areas of data pipeline and data analytics platforms. These all to us seem to indicate a very promising and exciting future for the role of open source in research and really across all industries. And so, because we are seeing this happen and we actually believe it's a really good thing, in addition to the investments that we are making by participating in open source governing bodies, we have directly developed, and in 2021, we launched a product called Oracle Open Data. Oracle Open Data is an entirely open resource. It is designed specifically to bring very large, scientifically valuable data sets to the community and put them close to compute and make them easy to consume and to analyze. And we include capabilities for researchers to distribute their own data sets back through open data. So if they want to share back with the open community, they can do that through Oracle Open Data at no charge to them. In short, Oracle software and Oracle technologies combined with open source technologies really enable our customers to reap the benefits of all the things that we offer on the proprietary side: high performance, reliability, and data security. And it also helps them lower their overall cost of computing. We believe that by arming the research community with the best fit for purpose computing technologies, whether those technologies are created by Oracle or open source or third-party resources, we believe that we can help bring about positive change in the world more quickly than we could otherwise. I think we'd all agree, I hope, that the starting point of innovation is research. Knowledge combined with exploration tends to spark new ideas and lead us down paths of new discovery. Because this is an area we are committed to, both innovation and research, we offer a number of products and programs to help researchers and research institutions, from discovery research through clinical research, all the way through commercialization of research outcomes. And we work with researchers in all disciplines around the world across academic, commercial, and government sectors. At the same time, we are also very deeply committed to sustainability. And I believe actually that the future of sustainable research computing lies in enabling researchers to access the compute resources they need when they need them as easily as possible. And this was a big part of the reason we were very excited to collaborate with a great university like Rice University to develop the OpenNebula connector to OCI. Our goal at the time was to enable cloud bursting from the Rice on-premises research computing cluster into Oracle Cloud to make it easier for researchers across the university to access the power of cloud computing when they need it. And I know Eric's going to talk more about that in just a minute, so I won't say any more about that. Next slide, please. Our mission at Oracle for research is to simplify the research process and accelerate discovery around humanity's most urgent needs. We do this through the products we build, the programs we offer, and the partnerships that we nurture. If you're a researcher, or you know a researcher, or if you support research computing or know somebody who does, I'd really encourage you to explore what Oracle has to offer. It's not all proprietary and it's not all expensive. A lot of it is based on open source. In addition, our various research awards offer scientific and technical collaborations along with cloud credits to support defined research projects. We found this is an extremely effective way to partner with researchers and get involved in world-changing research in an important way. Our Research Fellows program, which is by application only, hosts a very elite community of research luminaries who also receive cash support from Oracle. We do support open research data and open data standards through our Oracle Open Data product and through our partnership with the Research Data Alliance. For those of you who may not know RDA, they have more than 13,000 members across 148 countries, and we are working with them and with their other partners to develop and adopt infrastructure that is going to promote data sharing and data-driven research in open, responsible, and sustainable ways. In addition, to support health and life sciences research, we're actually investing in the anonymization of health records data so that we can offer research access to Cerner real-world data, first to Learning Health Network members and eventually to the wider community. And finally, beyond research data, we are actually working to simplify research cloud environments and in silico experiments and simulations with a new product called Oracle Workstation Service. And this product includes capabilities to allow researchers to easily use open source tools. We know from working with researchers that their preference is very often for open source tools. And it can be hard to actually move those environments into Oracle Cloud. So this product is designed to help make that easy without them having to be computer science experts or rely on their IT teams for help. Product is currently in limited availability. If you'd like to learn more about it, we would love to talk to you. So please feel free to reach out. And my wonderful colleague, Amy Sorrells, is actually on chat with you during this session. So feel free to just ping her for more information. Okay, next slide, please. As I wrap this up before I hand off to Eric to talk more about the project, I just want to give you a quick look at Oracle's presence in research by the numbers, because this does tend to surprise a lot of people in the community. We support more than 295 research institutions on 6 continents, and we are supporting more than 750 research projects worldwide. All this work is really central to achieving an Oracle core mission of using cloud computing to advance research for the good of humankind. Next slide, please. So to sum up, we believe that open source technologies play a critical role in accelerating the discovery of world-changing knowledge across many industry sectors, including research. And we believe they play important roles in security and in sustainable computing. We're super excited to extend our technical capabilities for research and to work with research organizations and open source foundations to support the ongoing development of new knowledge for the public good. We would love to work with you too, and we hope to hear from you at some point. And with that, I'm done, and I will hand off to Eric.
All right, thank you. Next slide. So I'm Eric Enquist, and I'm with the Center for Research Computing at Rice University. And so the Center for Research Computing is the organization at Rice responsible for providing computing support in the research area broadly across campus. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide. And so a little bit of history about the center, right? Originally, it started as the sort of high performance computing support center at the university focused on HPC clusters and those types of services. If anybody's familiar with high performance computing, especially in the research space, open source software is pretty much everywhere there. You'd be hard pressed right now to find an HPC cluster that isn't running some flavor of Linux operating system, for example. But it extends beyond that, right? So the job scheduler that manages starting and stopping prioritization of jobs. We use Slurm, an open source product, systems management, image provisioning, those pieces. At the center, we run XCAT, which similarly is an open source product. And even extending into sort of the storage space, right? The parallel distributed file system that runs as part of our HPC clusters is Lustre, another open source product. And interestingly enough, briefly an Oracle product there shortly after the sort of Sun acquisition there. But we see sort of on the infrastructure side, open source is really critical to the services that we provide. And this extends not just on the system side, right? So if you look at the user side, the researchers that make use of these resources embrace open source software quite a bit, right? You're going to see that sort of most of the codes that we support and run are going to be open codes, and the reason behind this is of course that it provides researchers with the flexibility to sort of take the work of others, make changes, experiment, test things out. There's that, as Allison mentioned, that transparency of the sort of understanding what's going on. And then finally, the ideal goal of reproducibility, right? When you publish a result, can somebody else actually, accomplish the same thing and then confirm your results? Similarly, we do have a little bit of a history with OpenNebula. It started off with expanding responsibilities across campus beyond just the HPC space, right? So how does a research computing center support the computing needs more broadly outside of specifically sort of the simulation space? And really there was this realization that we need to provide a utility level computing, right? That was sort of simple and user-friendly enough for sort of a larger segment of campus to be able to take advantage of. And so we did a search for sort of different products that would give, in this case, sort of virtual computing support across campus. And really, the sort of key component there is usability, right? Is, how do we make these resources simpler for the users to take advantage of? And looking at ourselves, right, being sort of a pretty lean organization, how do we support these services without having to allocate too much manpower into the sort of daily care and feeding, right? And then that's how we ended up with OpenNebula to provide this sort of self-service virtualization environment for our community, right? And currently, it's quite popular for sort of smaller scale general computing type tasks, but in particular for data collaboration work, right? And publishing results, publishing applications and algorithms and web portals, these kinds of things that are part of the research workflow, right? Then we have our history with Oracle for research, right? And that actually started out with a cloud migration project in the digital humanities, right? So there's a consortium called Slave Voyages that digitizes slave trade records for the Atlantic slave trade, and then makes those publicly available, right, for research purposes. And this was initially hosted on premise at another institution, and so we had this effort of migrating this into a cloud environment, making it more accessible, making it easier to maintain, and ideally sort of a much more flexible platform to host our data on. And we applied for support, and certainly credits and things like that when you're testing things out is very useful. But even more valuable is the sort of technical support and the manpower that was allocated to help this migration take place. Right? It was thanks to the success of this project that we also reached out to Oracle for research, working on the pilot project here for our interactive data platform, right? And then, the components that Oracle provided was the development for the plugin that we could use together with OpenNebula in order to access the OCI infrastructure, as well as additional, technical support, familiarization with the OCI infrastructure and those pieces. Go ahead and move to the next slide. And so the goals of this resource, right, and the sort of user requirements was to provide a service to complement the traditional HPC batch computing type resources, right? So, especially, a very large new workload on most campuses, I assume, right? That certainly is here, right? Is sort of this sort of data analysis and machine learning compute needs, right? And the part of the challenge, especially in the research space, is that it's not so much the, launching of large training jobs and waiting for the results to come back, but it's much more of this iterative development, testing, and debugging activity, right? So a lot of the research work is specifically in algorithm development or software development, which requires a much more sort of live, on-demand type of interaction with the resource. And looking at it from that point of view, right, we needed to prioritize interactivity and availability, right, which sort of immediately brings to mind the sort of cloud resources, right? At the same time, part of our support is reducing friction, right, making resources easier to use for the community on campus. And this includes sort of administrative and bureaucratic side of things, like how can we reduce sort of business process challenges in billing and cost management, right? Looking at our own requirements, right? Obviously, we needed to be able to provide an environment that could respond to unpredictable workloads, right? And in this case, right, it could be both a situation where, sort of minimal utilization as well as bursts right before some kind of a paper deadline or something like that. And then so the challenge is of course providing a scalable infrastructure, something that is simple to administer, doesn't require a large team for care and feeding, and then the flexibility in order to sort of adjust to changes in the future and future needs as well. So next slide. So the final environment that we ended up putting together was this hybrid container computing environment, right? And so resources are divided across the Oracle Cloud, OCI, as well as being hosted on-premise, right? So on-premise, primary baseline load executes on-premise, and we actually provide opportunistic computing via the Open Science Grid project. So if we don't meet peak load, then any idle cycles are actually fed back into the Open Science Grid so that other researchers could take care of taking advantage of resources that are being underutilized. Right? In the opposite direction, right? When load increases beyond what we can handle on premise, thanks to the OCI integration, right? We can spin up resources in OCI, and we can move workload off into the cloud to make sure that sort of on-demand promise is met, right? And this is all being managed by our system administrators by using OpenNebula, right? So we have a single management interface. You don't necessarily need to dive deeply into any OCI specifics, right? Most of the interaction happens with the OpenNebula abstraction. And then the users run their containers in a Kubernetes environment that sits on top of this platform, right? So from the user point of view, they're not necessarily worrying about where resources are running. It sort of become, from a user point of view, that they're simply launching their jobs and they'll be scheduled automatically. Most of the workloads we're seeing right now in production include the list that we have up there, right? And so that's image processing, sort of sensor data analysis, high energy physics, and then various sort of development projects within the machine learning space.
Okay, I think yeah, I think that was a great great presentation, both to Alison and Eric. I mean, I think it's been amazing just to learn from both of you. I mean, first of all, I mean, Alison, I think the commitment from a vendor like Oracle in terms of supporting open source, I think it's really good to see that you guys are still very much active and leading this support that a number of organizations, including research organizations, need to use open source solutions and software in a proper way. And then in this case, Eric, I'm personally, I'm really happy that we had this project, and I think it's a really nice example of very an inspiration, I would say, to the rest of the community and other organizations as well, as to how to combine open source technologies with the cloud provider like Oracle in this case to really make things as easy as possible for you research community. So yeah, I mean, congratulations and thanks to both of you for your respective contributions to this project, and also to the event, to bring this experience to the OpenNebula conference.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, and also thank you to the audience. And just a reminder as well that the chat is open for questions. Just send your comments, and feel free to send your comments and feedback and questions, and they will stay on the chat almost forever, I would say. So go ahead and send us your feedback. And again, Alison and Eric, thank you very much for being here, and thank you to your respective teams. I know you have very good teams behind, so congratulations to everyone.